Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about my beef with Toyota. Before we get into that, I do want to mention that I just released my first car buying course. This is an extensive course to help you save time and money every single time you purchase a car, and I've made the course extremely affordable. So if you're interested, link in the description down below. Let's get into the beef. So if you guys aren't familiar with my channel, I basically review cars for a living, and because of this, I went to the Chicago Auto Show this year, and I got to see a bunch of cars there, including cars from Toyota and Lexus. Lexus is just the luxury version of Toyota, and it got me thinking about a problem that I have with the brand. So first off, the one thing that I want to mention about the whole display and everything that Toyota had at the auto show is it was massive. They had a test track for the Tundra, and on top of that, they just had so many cars on display. I think they had more cars than anyone else. Ford was pretty close, but I think that Toyota might have had a few more. It was just cars everywhere. It was just absolutely insane. And then Lexus had quite a few cars as well. And so I think if you added up both the brands, they probably had more than anyone else at the auto show. But the reason that the auto show kind of made me think about some things with Toyota is the fact that they brought some really cool cars that they're never going to sell to the public, most likely. So on the Lexus side of things, they brought an LC 500 that was modified by Toyo, the tire company, and it was really cool. It was kind of like a speedster, and I'll just throw up a quick photo of it. So I did a review on it and posted it on the main channel, and so basically it just had really cool, stuff with it. The fact that it had a little bit of a wide body, it had these fender flares, it had these cool tires, and it had this really cool thing behind the front seats, and overall it's a really cool looking car, but they'll never sell anything, actual production like that. And then go over to the Toyota side of things, and they had this really cool concept for the Toyota Tundra, and it was like a Baja Tundra. It had 37s, it had a tire carrier in the back, and it had really aggressive off-road bumpers, and it was just a really cool looking vehicle overall, and obviously would just be absolutely insane for off-road use. But again, Toyota's probably never going to build that. And then on the Supra side of things, Toyota brought several different Supras. They brought a Targa, for example, with the new body style, which was really cool. I don't think I've posted that review yet. You guys will see that in the near future. But again, this is a thing that Toyota will never do. They'll never release a full production version of this Targa Supra. And that is the beef that I have with Toyota is they have a lot of cars, and they have cool cars, right? The new Tundra TRD Pro is going to be a really cool off-road truck. The new Sequoia TRD Pro, same thing. It's going to be a cool off-road SUV. The Lexus LC 500, I think it's great. The current Supra, it's great. But at the same time, there are things that Toyota could do to all these cars to kind of elevate them just a little bit and kind of make a true halo car for their brand in different segments. And Toyota just never does it. And that's kind of where my beef comes from is they obviously have the money, and they have the engineering team, and they have the design team to build really cool stuff. And they bring this really cool stuff to auto shows. And then it's yep, that's really cool. We can do this, but we're not going to sell this to the public. And so I wish that Toyota would take the step and, maybe take more risks and do cool stuff like this. For example, on that, Toyota Tundra Baja, if they released a truck that was even remotely close to that, wide body Tundra that had, just at least 35s from the factory, something similar to the Ford Raptor, I promise you they would sell a massive amount of them. I mean, you guys can let me know if you'd be interested in that. I personally know I would be interested in it because not only did that truck look amazing, I just think about all the off-road capability that truck would have. And then on top of that, right, it has Toyota reliability, and that's something that is huge for people and why people buy from the brand. And, Toyota obviously plays off of that quite a bit, and that's why they don't do crazy things, is because they know that people are going to buy their cars because they know that it's going to be a good, reliable vehicle. It's going to last a long time. But at the same time, I think that it's time for Toyota, like I said, to just take the step and, take some calculated risks. And so what I would like to see from Toyota over the next few years is some true halo vehicles with different segments, okay? So right now, with like the truck segment and SUV segment, we've got the TRD Pros from Toyota, but those are not at the top of the line in terms of those segments, right? For example, with the new Sequoia TRD Pro that's coming out, that just fits within it's a full-sized SUV, but it's like the off-road SUV segment. If you want to get the craziest off-road SUV, you're going to go buy a Land Rover Defender with the V8. Mercedes G-Wagon on the really high-end side of things, but on the lower side of things, Ford Bronco Raptor, Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392. Now, I understand that all these vehicles are different sizes, different weights, all that kind of stuff, but the point stands, right? They're all crazy, capable off-road vehicles, and there's nothing that Toyota has right now that really, truly competes against any of those from a capability standpoint, if that makes sense. So I think that they need to do something with an SUV. And then same thing with a truck. I already mentioned it. They made that Tundra Baja concept. They need to make that into a reality because the Tundra TRD Pro is great, and that kind of competes against like the new Chevy Silverado ZR2, but it doesn't truly compete against the Raptor or the Ram TRX. And so it's not at the very top. It's up there, but it's not at the top. And so I think they need to do something there. And then on the sports car side of things, what I think that they should do is just release more variants in terms of what they have, like with the Supra, right? If they did a Targa version of the Supra, which obviously they know how to do it because they built that concept, I think that a lot of people would buy that because that'd be a cool open air experience. And, maybe they could tinker and throw a manual transmission in the Supra. That would be awesome, especially with the new Nissan 400Z coming out. And then on the Lexus side of things, same thing applies to the off-road SUV things. So like the new Lexus LX 600, if they made like a crazier version with like really crazy suspension and shocks, I think that would be awesome. Just something to like truly compete against like, Mercedes G-Wagon, for example. And then, with the Lexus LC 500, maybe releasing a higher performance variant, right? A Halo model that has more horsepower. So maybe they, pair a hybrid system with the naturally aspirated V8 so that it has, crazy power outputs, like 600 plus horsepower. That would be something that would be cool. And I know that it seems like I'm throwing out these crazy ideas, but again, the point that I'm trying to make with this entire video is that there are certain things that Toyota could do that would still stay within their brand, but then also I feel like would expand their brand to a whole new level. And the whole reason why I guess I'm focusing here on Toyota is I just saw so much cool stuff from them, and it's like I'm just sad that it's never going to be out there for the public to purchase. Like there's a lot of other cool stuff from other manufacturers, like Ford, they brought the new Bronco Raptor, and they had the new Expedition Timberline and all these other cool vehicles. But again, those are vehicles that you can buy in the future, right? Whereas again, a lot of these things from Toyota, they're just these concepts that will never amount to anything, basically. And so, yeah, I want you guys to let me know kind of what you think about this. If you think that Toyota should go this route where they should take some risks and build some crazier vehicles, kind of what your opinion is on that overall. And yeah, that's pretty much going to sum things up for today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.